welcome to First and Filoni. This edition is another special one. My co-host Andrew Cooper is out on a call right now, so we get the amazing and the best record so far as a guest, Olivia Rhodes. How's it going, Libby?
Yes, good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Look, we're wearing our college
We
shirts
are.
here. We got OSU and NC State. NC State with a big win last week. Um, they didn't cover, but they won pretty handily. And I think the back end touchdown there kind of helped out. Devin
Oh,
Leary
yeah.
actually looked pretty good.
He
Defense looked
did.
solid. Any other thoughts on that game there?
Not too much. I just think he did connect with more receivers, but those long balls is what gets me. Short
Right.
ball's good, but we'll see.
We'll see. And they're coming up with a big test, and that's going to be our game of the week here. And we'll talk
Yes.
about that at the very end. But NC State at Clemson, maybe the game of the ACC coming up. Wake
Oh,
and
yeah.
Clemson last week was pretty good. Of the games last week, did you have any games of the week or anything like that?
Are you gonna repeat that?
Oh, sorry. Out of last week, did you have any games of the week? Any games that you thought was the best of the week?
Probably the Clemson and Wake one, because that's pretty much the only one I saw, but that
Yeah,
one.
yeah. Clemson Wake was on there. I also had Arkansas, Texas A&M,
Mm-hmm.
and then Tennessee, Florida. I thought was really good. I thought Florida actually played really, really well for that game.
They did.
Um, Coop agreed as well. Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas, Texas A&M. Texas A&M squeaks out another win, in my opinion.
Yes.
They just keep getting lucky. And then Miami and Middle Tennessee State, because Middle Tennessee State decided to beat the brakes off of Miami,
I sure
which
did.
that surprised me because we both had Miami as one of the ACC favorites going into the week. So,
Yeah.
okay, cool. And then our section of the Bambard kick of the week. Did you have any kicks that should have been made that weren't? Any that came to mind for you?
The Arkansas one.
Yep,
Hit it
I think
right
that
off the
was
top of the upright.
the doink off the top. It's the first time in a long time that has actually happened twice in the same college football year. Sorry if I keep freezing, guys. Everyone, we're in the midst of a hurricane and it's getting closer and closer as we come along. So apology for the bad video connection. But I agree, the Arkansas kick as well. I also had the Missouri kick to beat Auburn. They had a chance in overtime, I believe it was, and the guy missed basically an extra point.
Oh, didn't
So
see that one.
yeah, so there was a couple, and we'll have to compile them all at the end and kind of go back and review and see which one was the worst one of the year. But the anniversary of the namesake, the Vanguard Kick of the Week, is coming up here. From about what, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever it was. So
Yeah, something
5
like
years
that.
ago, something like that. Cool. And then the last question I wanted to go ahead and ask before we get into our game picks, because it is another loaded slate this week. Who's going to win the Big 12? It seems like everybody in the Big 12 is good this year, which is surprising. Kansas is 4-0, Texas is 2-2, but like they're a quarterback away. Like
I'm liking Kansas, I think.
really,
But maybe not. I don't know.
Second
I
year
don't know.
coach. I like Kansas. I think they're good. I don't think they're there yet. I think they've played some pretty easy teams.
That's true.
Andrew said that Oklahoma State was his team to win it, and I think
yeah.
I just because I'm a homer at this point now, but they haven't shown me any weakness so far. Granted, they haven't really played anybody, but Oklahoma losing last week, I don't think it's them. Their defense still isn't there. If Quinn Ewers was starting for Texas, I would pick Texas because I think with Quinn Ewers, they're great. But at this point, I think Oklahoma State. I think this game, Oklahoma State Baylor, is going to kind of determine the winner this weekend, which should be a good one. But yeah, no, I just wanted to discuss Big 12 a little bit because I think it's like the first time in a long time that
I think I'm gonna change mine to Oklahoma State. I really like them, but I like Kansas too.
Yeah, yeah. Kansas is one of those feel good stories that you just want them to win
I
because they've been
know.
so bad for so long, and you just want them to be good. But I don't know. Oklahoma State's offense is pretty good, so if their defense can hold up, we'll see. But all right, well, let's go ahead and get into the picks. It's going to be kind of a shorter episode. I'm not sure if I'm going to lose power here or not. We're kind of
Yeah.
just in the wind at this point. So we'll go ahead and make some picks and some predictions for this week. So let's go ahead and start it off. We got Alabama at Arkansas. Alabama is favored by 17 and a half points. Are you going to
I
pick the
got the Tide.
Razorbacks? Yep.
Nope, I
Yeah.
got the Tide.
Yeah, I do as well, and so does Andrew. After last week, they beat Vanderbilt pretty handily, more so than I thought. So I think they're finally back into the swing of things. So
Mm-hmm.
I think it's leading back up to Alabama Georgia SEC game.
Probably.
Unfortunately, but we'll see there. Um, that was a pretty easy one. Another fairly easy one, I think. Michigan at Iowa. Michigan is favored by 10 and a half points.
Michigan.
Yep. I think I'm going with Michigan as well. I think they should have lost last week. They did not look good against Maryland.
Oh
Um,
no, they didn't.
but Iowa can't score a touchdown. So it's one of those things like Michigan's going to be good enough, I think. They found a recipe with running it with Blake Corum. So if they keep running the ball with him, they're going to keep going. So we're all in agreement so far here. Next one is Oklahoma State at Baylor. Baylor is favored by 2.5 points.
They are favored. Okay. I'm going with Oklahoma State.
All right, Oklahoma State. I think we're going to go across the board here as well. Oklahoma State. They didn't play last week, so I think that's why they're not favored. It's going to be a
Mm.
coin flip game. I mean, they're both pretty even there.
All right, I'll meet you at the house.
Have enough offense, and I'm not sure Baylor has
All right,
that
thanks.
offense
Bye.
yet. I think they're a good team, but I don't think they're there yet. So we're all picking OSU there. First game Andrew and I differed on. Kentucky at Old Miss. Old Miss is favored by 6.5
Let me
points.
hear who y'all have.
So last week Old Miss did not play well, but I think they're better than Kentucky. I'm picking Old Miss. And there's Uncle Mark with NC State representing. We got Oklahoma State over here as well. Big game this week. Who do you got? You got a guest pick for the game?
Here. Do you have a
And there
What's
he
up?
is, the legend himself, Uncle Mark. Do you got a pick for the game this weekend? NC State at Clemson, celebrity pick.
Celebrity pick. Hey, my pack, baby.
Yeah, it's gonna be a close one though. It should be a really good game.
Depends on how the offense operates.
Right. It lies on Devin Leary's back at this point.
That's exact. Well, that and our receivers, how well they want to go after the ball.
Yeah.
I think our defense can handle it, but you can't leave them out there the whole game.
Yeah. And DJ's improved over the last couple of weeks too, and I think he played well against Wake Forest. So I think it's gonna be a shootout. Unfortunately, I'm not sure if the defenses will. They're good, but I don't know. The only way it's gonna go, I think it's gonna be a 30 to 40 type game.
Yeah, if it's that close, I'll take it. But I hope it's a blowout for us, but I know it's not going to be. But I mean, it could be our year to take it. They've got to play.
They have the team.
My whole thing is the offense. The offense has to come together
Yep.
with our play calling and stay healthy. Like I said, I think our defense for the most part can handle some of it. They just can't.
They have that bend don't break mentality, and they need to keep getting those turnovers. The defensive line's solid. It just depends on which secondary shows up that game.
That's the problem. That's the problem we have. But they've gotten better over the years.
Oh yeah,
So,
for sure.
anyway.
For sure.
All right, I'll let y'all go. I got to run. I got to go talk to somebody about a survey.
Yeah, all righty. Thank you
All right,
again. And then we got a
all right.
celebrity pick there as well.
See you. Bye.
See ya. All right. Well, that was Uncle Mark for you there with the celebrity insight for a future game that we're going to be calling. But back to the Kentucky Old Miss. I do have Old Miss winning. I'm still not sold on Kentucky. I just Levis has taken a step up this year. I will be the first person to admit he's gotten better. But I have Ole Miss. Andrew has Kentucky.
I have Kentucky. I like
Uh-oh.
Mark Stoops, but I also like Lane Kiffin. But I think I'm gonna go with Kentucky.
Yeah, Mark Stoops is a good coach. He's turned that program around. Lane Kiffin, I don't know if Lane Kiffin is going to be at Ole Miss next year. I think he might be Auburn's
Oh,
next head coach. I have that feeling. I don't think Harrison's going to be there for much longer. He keeps skating by his teeth at this point. So that's a 6.5 point spread too. I don't have faith in Kentucky. Um, Next game we have is Oklahoma at TCU. Oklahoma is favored by 6.5 points.
I know they just lost to Kansas State, but I'm going Oklahoma.
You're going to Oklahoma. Andrew is going to Oklahoma as well. I'm going to go with TCU. I think TCU's run game is too good, and that's what Kansas State specialized in, and that's why Oklahoma lost. I think they're going to finally show the Cinderella story of losing their coach is over. I think Brent Venables is a good coach, but he doesn't have his players in, and they lost too much on defense last year to the transfer portal. But then again, I think that's going to be another less than 6.5 point game. Like I'm not, I don't have them winning by a lot. And I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma wins, but I'm going to go TCU.
Okay.
Another one we have the surprising Oregon State. They should have beat USC at Utah. Utah is favored by 10.5 points.
I'm going Utah. I think.
Yeah, I'm going Utah, and so is Andrew. I think Utah's finally found their. I had them losing 1 or 2 games this year in the prediction, but I don't know. They might lose 2 or 3, but I still think they're the best in the Pac-12. I think they'll beat USC in the future.
Yeah.
But I think that one's going to be closer than 10.5 as well. I'm surprised by these
Me
spreads when I
too.
looked them up.
Actually, yeah.
I think it's going to be a 6-point game. I don't think it's going to be much more than that. Another game, ACC game, Battle of Two Titans, Wake Forest at FSU. FSU is 4-0 this year. Surprising.
I had the toughest time choosing this one.
FSU is favored by 6.5, if that helps.
Okay. Let me hear who you picked.
So this is another one. I don't think it's a 6.5 point game. I think it's closer to the
I don't
toss-up.
either.
I think it comes down to the quarterback, and I think after Hartman showing last week how he threw all over that amazing Clemson defense, which I still think is top 5 in the country, Hartman, if he plays well, they should take it, and I think Wake's going to win that one. Andrew picked Wake as well.
Andrew picked Wake. Okay. I think I'm gonna go with Wake.
It's a tough one. I had trouble with this one as well. Just because Florida State's been great, and Travis he's shown up to be a good quarterback. So Florida State might have a future with Norvell, but I still think they made the mistake of not hiring Deion Sanders when they had the chance. But next one we have Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Mississippi State is favored by 3.5 points. Will Rogers threw 6 touchdowns last week for Mississippi State.
I didn't pick this one either. I had a hard time.
So we are split. Andrew picked Texas A&M. I picked Mississippi State. I've picked against Mississippi State almost every single week, it seems, because I don't think they have enough offensive firepower. They have 2 good running backs, but they only have 1 receiver. Outside of their top receiver, who was suspended last week, they're not there. And their quarterback, Max Johnson, isn't as good as I thought he was going to be. They just need to go ahead and put in that 5-star freshman and pray for the best, to be honest, because their 2 quarterbacks they started this year with Haynes King and Max Johnson are just not there.
I'll go with Jimbo and A&M.
A&M. Yeah, and that's a good pick. I had trouble with this one. That one was probably the one I had the most trouble with, to be honest with you. Um, but now you're seeing firsthand. We have our guest picker having trouble pick the games that Andrew and I pick every single week. So, it's not easy ones on the games that we pick. We try to get close games and good games and more fun that way, it seems.
It is.
Two more games that we have here, and then I got 3 locks of the week. We'll go with LSU at Auburn. LSU is favored by 9 points, but they're at Auburn.
I don't think either team looks that great, but I've got LSU winning that one.
As well, I expect LSU to show up. Brian Kelly, he's not a this kills me to say it. He's not a bad coach. He's an 8-4 win team, and that's about as good as he's going to get this year if he can even get to 8-4. But I think Auburn has gotten lucky. Now, the thing that Auburn has on their side is that it's at Auburn, and there seems to be ghost in Jordan Hare that whoever goes down there outside of Penn State just has trouble. So that one might turn into a really, really good game. I just LSU I have winning. Yeah, I think we all do. So
okay.
All right. And now the game of the week. Game day will be there. I believe it's an afternoon kickoff, 3:30, right? Or is it a night game?
It's a night game.
Oh,
so my thing is, are we even gonna have it?
Night game.
Anybody?
I do have some notes here as well from the man himself, Mr. Andrew Cooper.
Okay, let's hear it.
He said he's very upset about his pick. It's a rain game. NC State's 1-0 in hurricane games.
Look at this picture I have.
We were there last week. Oh, the last time the hurricane came through.
We do good in hurricanes. So
that was such a miserable game. We were all soaking wet and just seeing trees float sideways.
My thing is, at least you and Andrew just had to go back to the hotel. Dad and I had to sleep at a shelter.
Yeah, that's true. We thankfully got to go to the hotel, and those helmets for Notre Dame were shining in the rain too, which it was a fun game, but it was miserable. But
it was very miserable.
I remember, I believe you and your dad were in the concourse and the power went out, and Andrew and I were sitting in the stands watching the trees go sideways.
Yeah.
And you texted us, we're like, power's out. We're like, oh man. But so he said he's very upset. He says NC State plays well in the rain games. They're 1-0 in hurricane games, which might be the hurricane that I'm feeling now.
Probably.
Y'all will get it. He doesn't think NC State is a top 10 team, but they are a top 20, and I can agree with that.
I agree with that. I don't think we're top 10 either.
I think the teams between 5 and 18, I think we can kind of make a case for anybody to be in any position. I don't think I think the top 3 are solidified. I don't think Michigan's a good number 4, but I'm going to be confident in them enough to have them at 4. But he also said, and he wanted to make sure I got this quote correct, instead of talking about unfinished business, it's time to take care of unfinished business. And that was towards Coach Dorn there. Apparently he said that after a game either this year or last year. I can't remember what he said, but NC State at Clemson. Clemson is favored by 6.5 points. I'm going with Clemson only because DJ looked good last week.
He did.
And that is the only reason. I think the defenses are a flip-flop. I think Clemson has a little bit better of a defense. I think NC State has better skill players, better running game, better receivers. The quarterback situation, I think they're about even. But the way DJ played on a close game against another good quarterback, against a good defense, and with Clemson, but I think it's going to be close.
That's fine. My mind says Clemson, but my heart says Wolfpack. So you know who I'm picking.
Yeah, she'll pick NC State, and once Coop hears this, he might switch it back. So I'll let him switch this game back if he wants to switch it before the end of the week here. But
hang on, I can't believe him though.
Did he pick Clemson?
I'm having a talk with him.
Yeah, I think you do because he wanted to pick it. And let me tell you, he switched it about 2 or 3 times when I talked to him earlier today. But to be honest with you, this was the second hardest game because I can see NC State winning. And if NC State wins at Clemson, they will be in the top 7. And then it's all up the hill from there. They beat Wake Forest, they're in the conversation then for the playoff.
That's the other one I'm scared about. Wait.
They'll be sacrificed to Georgia, but they'll be in the playoff
yeah.
at least. They'll be at least in the playoff, which not a lot of teams we can say are like that. But with that being said, with these picks, I think this would have been the perfect year to roll out the 12-team playoffs. We would have had great games in the first round, had the top 4 had a bye. We would have had like the NC States and the Oklahoma States play in the first round at least. And I mean, having like a Kentucky up there, maybe a Tennessee, maybe a Florida. Like, I think it would have been some good games potentially.
It would have been. I agree.
We'll see. Hopefully they do it by next year. I have a feeling with this way the season's going, they might. But as of right now, the records stand 29-11 is me. Andrew is 28-12. Official picks, Libby is 6-2. She did send the picks last week.
I didn't do good last week at all.
No, I think you were 1 or 2 games behind us, which isn't bad, but we'll have you at 6-2 officially. And my locks are at 8-10, so we're steadily improving there. I only have 3 this week because I didn't have much time to look into them. But the games that I have is Navy versus Air Force. I have the over 37 points. Air Force is they're just amazing. Like they can score. Navy isn't as good as they used to be.
Not at all.
But I think that they can at least score 37 combined points. I have Minnesota winning by more than 12.5 points. They are playing. Let me find them real quick. They're playing Purdue. Now, I think Purdue's a good team, but I think Minnesota just showed us how good they were last week with blowing out Michigan State.
Yeah.
And then the last one I have is Oregon State. I have Oregon State plus 10.5. This is what we talked about earlier. I think Utah is going to win the game, but I think Oregon State's going to keep it close. I think they're going to keep it under 10.5. I don't foresee that game getting out of hand there. So for the gambling friends up in the legal states, Virginia, Tennessee, wherever you may be, Pennsylvania, take that advice if you want. We're doing all right on the locks. The other ones are money line picks. Libby, do you have any other picks or any other comments for this week coming up or the future of college football?
Andrew sent honorable mentions to me too.
Oh yeah, we did have a couple honorable mention games. I can't remember them off the top of our heads, but we can kind of pick those just for fun. What you got?
West Virginia and Texas.
Yeah, I think that's a good game. Quinn Ewers suited up last week. I'm not sure if he's going to start this week, but if he does start, I think Texas blows him out.
Me too. I would have.
But if
Texas.
he doesn't start, if it's Card, I think it's a great game. I think West Virginia is not getting the credit that they deserve either after that first week versus.
Oh
Pitt.
yeah.
What other games you got? What other ones were on there?
Tech at Carolina. Let's go to that one.
BT at Carolina. Who you got? Carolina did not look good last week versus Notre Dame.
They didn't, but VT looks horrible too.
I think it's battle of the bad teams.
This kills me to say it. It kills me.
Ooh.
But I'm going to have to pick Carolina.
I see. You waited for your dad to leave before you said that.
I even asked Dad earlier. He said the same thing I did.
I think it's Gene Chizik. I don't know what he's doing with that defense. They have a great offense. And if they could even have a sniff of a high school defense, I think they might be okay. But I'm with you there. I think it's UNC just because their offense and it's but I don't What else you got?
I think there was Texas Tech at Kansas State.
Texas Tech has looked good ever since the NC State game.
I agree.
They looked very good at NC State, even though the score doesn't show it.
They did. I I think I got Texas Tech actually.
Yeah, I think I do as well. Kansas State just isn't there for me. They're good for a good last week.
Hmm.
I think the coaches have Texas Tech in the right direction, and that's scary because that's another bad Big 12 team that's actually
Yeah.
pretty good with a backup quarterback.
Last one, Stanford and Oregon.
So I put this one on there just because I just have so many fond memories of Stanford being good, and they're just
Hmm.
not good anymore. And then Oregon, which Oregon's going to show up? The Oregon that beats the
Exactly.
brakes off of BYU, or the Oregon that gets boat raced by Georgia? So this one would have been a tough one for me to pick, to be honest with you.
Let me hear who you would have picked.
I think I would go Stanford.
Really, I was gonna go Oregon.
Oregon's a smart play. Oregon's the better team by far. But Bo Nix, I do not trust him. I've not trusted him since Auburn. And it's a
Yeah.
quarterback
I
game.
agree.
The college football is turning into NFL, and the fact that it is a quarterback league. If you have a quarterback, you're going to be good. And that's what we say every week with NC State. Which Devin Leary is going to show up? Is it going to be the
Exactly.
Devin Leary that we know like he was
From
last year?
year?
Where
Yeah.
he was maybe the second best. He was the second best quarterback in the ACC outside of Kenny Pickett last year. And I mean, it was close. Kenny Pickett just was in the Heisman race. Like that's
Yeah,
the
he
only
was.
difference between those
Yeah.
two. So which one shows up? I really want to change my pick in that NC State game. I really
Keep it.
want to.
It's fine. If I lose, I lose. I can't go against them. I just can't. I can't.
I'm gonna stick with Clemson. I think that I'm sticking with Clemson. Let me put a caveat there. I'm sticking with Clemson, but I'm cheering my butt off for the Wolfpack because
Okay.
I just want to see the downfall of DJ because I think Cade Klubnik's better.
I feel like it's got to be our year to beat them in Death Valley.
If
Ever
NC
since
State, I'm gonna call it right now. If NC State beats Clemson, they win out. They're in the college football playoff. They'll be number 4,
yeah,
so they'll play Georgia or Alabama.
which will be crushed 0 points.
I don't know which one you'd rather choose because Alabama looks good last week, but
I don't know. But
I
ever
think
since that 2016 missed Bambard kick, it's got to be
it's
our year at
cursed.
some point.
It's cursed. I remember that we were at one of my friends' wedding. Andrew came with me, and we were watching the game on the phone in the car, and then right before the wedding started, we went into the wedding, and he put the phone on the Bible in the pew and just was watching the game, and it was he just was not a happy camper because it was an easy field goal to make. So
Dad
hopefully
and
you
I
have
weren't
better luck.
either.
Oh, I can imagine. I can only imagine.
Dad was in the garage. I was upstairs. I actually threw the remote at the TV and I heard Dad yell from inside.
Oh, I'm sure. Oof.
It was a
Ooh.
bad time.
Yeah. Dennis and Gail are probably like, what is going on over there? I don't
I
know
know.
what is happening. But all right. Well, I appreciate you for sitting in here. Sorry it was a little bit shorter of an episode. I want to make sure I can get this all edited tonight before we lose power here. And
Yeah.
appreciate you being on and great insight here. I think we have some good picks. You stuck with Andrew pretty close. Every game except for the last one, which I'll give him a chance to switch his pick to NC State, as long as I can.
No, I don't want him to now.
Well,
He can stay with Clemson.
We'll see. I know you're about to give him a talking to here after this call, but I think it's going to be a good week here. College football is getting exciting. We're now into the heart of conference play, and ACC's played better than I thought. Big 12's been the surprise. Pac-12's been the surprise. I think Big 10's a little down. I think SEC's a little down this year. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. So that's it for First and Floney. Thank you again for all the support. Continue to like, share, comment, spread the word, be a friend, tell a friend. For us here, and I'll speak for Libby at this part. Thank you again so much. And you guys have a great rest of your night.